Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the Urban Access 13 and 15 by ThinkTank, and we're going to go over a comparison of their relative sizes. Stay tuned. About a year ago I received the Urban Access 13-inch and I did a review on it that was quite popular, and one of the most common questions that I would get is what's the difference in the size between the 13 and the 15? Well, I like the bag so much that I ended up getting the 15 just recently as my everyday video bag. I'm wearing it right now. You can see it right here. Pretty exciting. So what I wanted to do today is just go over the differences between the sizes of these two bags. They're very similar in the dimensions. I'll show you what the differences are in their dimensions right now. But they're very similar, but when you put everything in there, you can see how much extra space you get when you add an inch or two in every direction. So let's get right to it. We're going back to the studio for that. At first glance, the ThinkTank Urban Access 13 and 15 look very, very similar. When they're not right together, they actually look like they could be the same bag. But when you put them right beside each other, you can start to see some differences in terms of the height and the width. It's not obvious at first when you start packing one or the other or when you put it on your back, but once you start to look at the specs and you start to fill it up, then it becomes more obvious. Now, if we look at the actual specifications between the two, the dimensions of each part vary anywhere from about 1 inch to almost 2 inches on all sides. So when you add all of that up together, you get a relatively significant amount of difference between the two and what you can put in them. Let's see what it looks like on the body. The first thing that you notice when you see it on my back is that the 13 rides up higher on my back and the belt rides higher as well. This can be a little bit annoying for someone who's a bit taller, since the strap rides a little bit high for me and my comfort level, even though I like the size of the bag itself. Looking at the 15-inch on the right-hand side, you can see that it's riding lower and it comes out a bit thicker on the back. Now inside, what I've done here is I've taken both bags and filled them up with the exact same gear. On the left-hand side with the 13-inch, you can see that I've put a full-sized lens. In my case, it's a 135 with the lens hood flipped backwards on a Sony A7R IV. And I've added a flash, I've added a couple of extra lenses, a drone with 2 extra batteries, and the controller. Now, when I put the exact same equipment in the 15-inch, you can see that I have a completely empty compartment on the bottom. This was done on purpose to see how efficiently I could pack it. So on the left, on the 13-inch, it's packed pretty tightly. And on the right, I have an extra inch of depth. So I'm able to put a few things on top of each other, and it all adds up to that full extra compartment on the bottom that it's empty. That's pretty significant when you actually need that space. Although you can still see that you can fit a fair bit of equipment in the 13-inch. Now looking at the top pocket, again we have the 13 on the left and the 15 on the right. If you look closely at this, and it's a little hard to tell how much space there actually is, but I'm using this case for my Rode Wireless 2 Go microphones that fits into the top pocket. On the left, you'll notice that the batteries just barely fit in on the top because they're squeezed from below, and that's about as much as I can fit in down below. On the right, on the 15, you can see I've slid 2 batteries right along the edge, and there's still a bit of space between the batteries and the case. I also have at least a 1/2 inch or more depth that I can put some more small stuff on top of the case. So again, you have a bit more space on the top pocket. Now looking at the side pockets, this is another one that's a little hard to see, but on the left on the 13, you can see that with my Peak Design tripod, it's held on by the strap, but it's pretty high. It's a bit top heavy, so it technically, if you were running or something, it could jump out and fall down. On the right-hand side, though, with the 15, it's held about halfway up the tripod. It's still not held up on top as I would prefer it to have, but it's held more tightly and it feels more secure. Now finally, one of the questions that I've been getting recently is what can you fit in terms of laptops into these bags? Again, we have the 13 on the left and the 15 on the right. On the left, we have a 13-inch iPad with a full keyboard case on it that can easily fit into the 13 with a little bit of space on the side. So if you happen to have a 13.3-inch laptop or anything like that, it will fit nicely into that compartment. On the right-hand side, you can see I have a 15-inch MacBook Pro going into the pocket, and that slides in pretty snug. And I wouldn't try to put anything much bigger than that into here. Maybe if you had a very thin case on it, it would still fit. Either way, it still fits nicely. And there you have it. That's the Urban Access 15 versus the 13. So if you have any questions about these bags, please leave me a comment below and let me know what your experiences have been. In the meantime, if you wouldn't mind giving me a like for this one, if it was useful in any way, go ahead, and please feel free to subscribe if you'd like to see other videos like this in the future. In the meantime, have a great day. Enjoy the rest of the winter.